Before we get started, I want everybody to rise as we'll do our national, or Pledge of Allegiance, I should say, unless someone wants to sing the national anthem. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You can be seated.
There's a girl.
I think most of you have already checked in, but you've got a sign-in area. If you haven't, to stop by. We'd like to get your email address so we can keep you posted. And then you'll see the white little cards. If you'd like to ask a question tonight, send them to Sam and some of the other folks walking around. He's over there in the red shirt, the Ball State shirt. Give your card to Sam. Just put it in the air, and he'll do his best to get it to me quickly. And we'll try to get all the questions asked tonight. And when this is all over, we're going to make sure that your Congressman, Representative Shreve, will get your questions, even if you decided not to show tonight, which obviously is the case. So, Congressman, Representative Shreve will get your questions, even if you decided not to show tonight, which obviously is the case. So, we had the chance to work together in the Indiana General Assembly when I was a representative and she was a state senator, all the way from Ogden Dunes, which is right next to the Indiana Dunes. Please welcome Karen Tallian.
Thank you. Thank you. As Dave said, I am newly on the job, of just about 2 months. And we have been doing these town hall meetings all over the state and getting tremendous response. This is a great response for Friday night, right?
Stand up to be louder.
With a storm coming, yeah, with a tornado on the way.
It'd be a little louder if you stood. If you're willing.
Really, we have to do.
Is this for? Well, that's for a podcast.
That's for the podcast.
Can everybody hear Karen in the back?
All right, I'll talk loud.
There you go.
All right. So we have things that we can share with you. I'm not going to do it right here in introductions, but we are really here to listen to you and to hear what it is that is bringing you out on a Friday night. We all know what that is, but we really want to hear what are the issues that are most important to you. We can share some of what we know about what's happening in the State House and what's happening nationally, and just what's happening with events like this all over the state. So I'm going to turn it over now and introduce my colleague, Shelley Yoder. We served in the Senate together. I was in the Senate for 16 years before I did this. Then I tried to retire. Yeah, right. That's what my children told me. I flunked retirement. But Shelley and I served in the Senate for several years, and she is now the Senate Democrat Caucus Chair.
Well, the minority leader. You didn't get a demotion.
Go ahead.
Hello, I am Shelley Yoder, and I have the great honor of being at least the senator for Monroe County. I live in Bloomington, and I was elected as the Senate Minority Leader this year. Just finished the first session, which was a really difficult session. Our one job was to create a budget that would actually prioritize those who need us most. Our kids, our aging parents, working class and middle class families. We needed to rise to meet the moment, and I'm sorry to say we did not. And we can talk about that more and what that means for our local communities. But I am honored that you invited me here. Thank you. And I look forward to the conversation that we are going to have together.
Thank you. Thank you.
And Josh King, the 8th, or the, what district is this now?
This is six.
The
Six.
sixth district.
You're
I'm
the,
the eighth.
you're the eighth, I'm the sixth.
The sixth district chairman is here with us tonight. Give it up for Josh King.
I'm new to the role of district chair this year, but I'm not new to politics. I've been the vice chair of Johnson County, slowly moving us from red to a purple color. My job will be next year, we're going to find the right person to take that from an empty seat and have a member of Congress that shows up.
Well, let's get started. We've got several questions already, but keep them coming. Sam will walk around the room. If you put your card up, he'll be happy to get your question.
Write our questions down. We don't get it, just ask them.
Well, I mean, near the end, that would be fine, but we're just trying to get them in order so people we want you to put some thought into your question. And then sometimes what we'll find, we'll get forth. And then sometimes we have a lot of times, we have duplicate questions a lot of times. So instead of trying to ask four, so if you can fill them out, that kind of keeps it from having duplication too. Everybody's going to have a chance to have their question asked, okay? All right, so let's just dive in here. From a grassroots standpoint level, what 2 or 3 things or actions can I do to make a difference? And how does the local party interact with the national party? And what's the best way for me to be heard by my congressman and get a response? So who would like to start with that? Madam Chair? Or
You go first. No, you go first.
Oh, the easiest way to take care of all those questions is to elect Democrats. Okay.
That would help.
Once we do that, so let me just tell you a little bit about the workings of the state party and the workings of national party. So, people think that we get all of our money from the DNC. It's not true. We have to raise most of what we get. They give us a small percentage of our budget. The DNC National Committee is really working on national politics. Yes?
Louder.
Okay.
Thank you.
The DNC is really working on national politics. They're working on presidential elections and coordinating 50 states plus 7 districts and territories. So we really run parallel but separate. They are out doing their own town halls across 50 states. We're here in Indiana doing the same thing. One of the things that I promised when I first got in was that I was going to call 92 county chairs and see what they needed, see what was going on in their counties, see if they had their precinct organizations together, see just what was happening and what they needed. The state party right now is trying to build what I call the infrastructure, which really means 2 parts. It means data, all that stuff in the VAN. If you all are familiar with the VAN is the voting access network that contains all the voting information for the state of Indiana. And that's what county chairs and county party and candidates use when they are walking neighborhoods. So we're putting, we do that constantly on a year-round basis. And then the other part of infrastructure is precinct organizations. I've called so many county chairs that, maybe we only have 1/3 of our counties, our precincts filled. Some counties are way better than that. Some counties need more help. So that's what we're doing as a state party to get all of you involved. And there are some other things, but I'm going to save that till the end. That's my end.
Senator Yoder, you can definitely attest to this. Your Indiana General Assembly members, whether they're Democrat or Republican, you almost always get guaranteed a letter back if someone calls or sends a questionnaire in. Is that still a fair statement?
Well, I guess it depends. Yes, I'm not sure what you're asking.
Well, I guess one of the questions was, what's the best way for me to be heard by a congressman and get a response? It was part of their 3-point question. So I guess I'm looking for ways to, if people want to interact, whether it's their federal congressman or their state legislator, what's a good way to make that happen?
I cannot guarantee you will hear back, but I will say that people do read it. People do ask for who has reached out by email, by phone call, by postcards regarding an issue. Because you cannot deny, having read something, it does impact you. Will you hear back? I don't know. I try to always respond and make sure that people know, thank you for your letter, thank you for your email, thank you for your text. No matter how you're going to reach out, I let the constituent know, we hear you. I don't know, because I can't speak
That's
for
true. Yeah, you can't
everybody.
speak for all 150, of course.
But I do want to respond to, how can you help? Run for precinct committee person. Either run for the chair of your precinct, and that might be something you're asking, what in the heck is a precinct? As I was asking folks, is this the first event you've ever been to? What is so exciting is many of you said, yes, this is the first time I've actually shown up to something. It can be intimidating. So a precinct is basically, in the state of Indiana, then your county, your community, where you live. It is your neighborhood. And you get to run for that seat. You actually can file paperwork to run for that seat. And I would encourage you to do so. And then you organize that community, your neighborhood. It's small. It's the smallest district that we have in Indiana is your neighborhood. And you getting to know your neighbors and building a relationship, that's what you can do. And if there is somebody already serving in that capacity, help them. We need help. We need organization, and then we need mobilization. So write to your electeds, let them know how you feel about certain topics, subject matter, but also run and organize your neighborhood. Build those relationships. It is key to making change.
In my county, you don't have to run, you volunteer, basically.
Right, yeah.
Seriously.
That's true, but isn't it fun to say you ran?
I won.
Yeah.
All right, let's keep, do you want to add anything to that, Josh?
No, I think the biggest push is be a member of your precinct, be a precinct chair. We rely on that. You know your neighborhood. I mean, I might know Franklin, Greenwood, Southport. I might know that area, but you live in the neighborhood. You know them best. You might know who are pretty much solid red hat people, and you might know the people that we need the most down the middle who go, well, I might vote for Senator Yoder. That's what the precinct chair does. That's what we need in every county.
I'm going to attach this next question, but it's still kind of in the same vein. Donut counties are growing, including more and more minorities. What are we doing as a state party to reach out to these people? So I think the senator touched on this, but we're trying to do that if we can just get enough people on the ground to help us communicate.
That's my question. I mean, I look around here, we're lily white, folks. And my fear is, and I'm from Hendricks County. And Hendricks County has the fastest minority population growth of all the donut counties. Everybody know what I mean by donut counties? And our leadership is lily white. And I'm a little frustrated, I have to tell you, I'm a little frustrated. I proposed to our outreach committee a program to contact all the black-owned businesses in the county. I was told we can't do that because fairs and festival season is coming up and we're too busy. There is a huge lack of urgency among the local leadership, and I'm very frustrated. There's just a huge lack of urgency. And then I was told, well, we don't have any elections in 2025, so it's no hurry. It's just, there is urgency, folks. People are dying out there because of the Republican policies. And we need to get on the ball.
Sure. Well, let the chairman take over from our chairman.
Sure.
You're volunteered.
Pardon me?
You're volunteered.
I would love
That's
to
the
volunteer.
answer.
They told me I couldn't do it.
You
They
can
told me
do.
everything I wanted to do had to go through the executive committee first. I would have done it, I would have gone to a few black-owned businesses and said, hey, one or two. We patronize a couple of them. I would have gone and said, hey, can you I would have wanted to get a minority to contact minorities. I would have gone and said, hey, can we do this? What do you think? They said, no, we can't right now. We're too busy with fairs and festivals.
I think you should call me.
Okay, I will.
We'll find a way to help that.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, this entire statewide organization from the ground up, at precinct levels and up and up and up, depends on volunteers. And I don't think I have ever turned away a volunteer who had a plan. So call me.
And I apologize if I get too excited. My mouth has a tendency to get me into trouble.
We're just glad you're motivated and you want to help us. So we appreciate that very much. Senator.
But I do appreciate, the fact is, I mean, we say we value diversity. We say we want to lift up underrepresented communities. And yet, what do we do to make that happen? We need to do a better job. It's either a priority, it's either a value, or it's not.
We just say it is.
Yeah, so thank you. And we can actually, each of us can do a better job of recruiting candidates, of asking people, meeting people where they are and asking, tell me what you need from me to do a better job. How can I lift your voice up? How can I help you achieve what you want to achieve? And what is that? It might be very different. But whether that is in our Latino community or in the Black community or in other diverse communities, the Sikh community, how can we meet them where they are and listen?
Thank you.
We've got a question. There is much evidence showing that Medicaid work requirements keep eligible people off Medicaid due to bureaucratic burdens. For example, Georgia is spending more on administration than benefits for its work program. How does this help anyone? Who wants to take a stab at that?
I'd be the first to say it doesn't.
I agree with him. You have to understand, though, when you read about what is going on in Georgia, every state gets block grant money from the feds. So Georgia's Medicaid program is not ours, and it's not Illinois', and it's too bad it's not Illinois'. They have a much better deal over there. So we need to focus, your questions on what's happening in the state of Indiana. One thing that we know is that federal block grant money is going to be cut. But another thing that you might want to know is that I might be wrong on the number, but it's close to 50% of Medicaid recipients are children and disabled people. Work requirements have nothing to do with that. So
then they're asked to prove they're still disabled, and they put them through incredible.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. So, Shelley, maybe you can talk about what's going on with the Medicaid budget in the state.
So if you aren't a member of Hoosier Action Network, I would encourage you to join Hoosier Action Network. You can look them up. They do really good work in organizing, and that's an organization that you can get involved in. But they were hands on the ground mobilizing and educating people throughout Indiana this last session and helped us be successful in removing the arbitrary cap that they were going to place on Medicaid. But there is still an employment component to Medicaid for adult recipients of Medicaid. So not disabled, not children, although who has children? Adults. So there is an employment component that successfully made it through the legislature. It was Senate Bill 2, and it passed. This is what we know about churn.
Are you kidding me?
So, are we in a safe place?
We are.
We are.
I will, with that going off, we've been told we are in a safe room, so we are.
And it is a thunderstorm warning, so
We're a lot of samples that are really good quality.
Wow, so we're thunderstorm warning.
All right.
For 80-mile-per-hour winds, but again, we're in a safe.
We're in safe zone.
Yeah. We.
I wanted to
80.
finish, but Steve, did you have I wanted to finish talking about churn real quick. Is it about the storm or about?
No, this is on
On
a
topic.
subject, not question, but comment. Made to preface this by saying, I think most of the reason people voted for Trump this last time was that rightly or wrongly, they thought the Biden administration had cost them money. I don't think that was the case. I don't think the statistics bear that out. That seems to be what people believe. And I think there's going to need to be more done than simply organization and, statistical analysis and all that, vital as those are. I'm not saying that. But I think two things are going to happen. One, we'll have to communicate to the voters. You were mistaken about Trump being better for you or better for your pocketbook. He's costing you money, and here's where and how. And two, in terms of dealing with Republican office holders and members of Congress, I think they're going to have to be confronted by us, brutally so if necessary.
Again.
Just so you can kind of know what the Weather Service is saying, even though we're in a very safe place, but I want to at least give you a quick update since they're mentioning Greenwood. 6:55 severe thunderstorms were located along a line extending from near Speedway to 7 miles southwest of Greenwood, moving northeast at 50 miles per hour. These are destructive storms for Indianapolis, Southport, Speedway, and Claremont. They're saying 80-mile-per-hour wind gusts and penny-sized hail. So they're worried about flying debris, of course, and possible power outages. So we're definitely in the zone. So hopefully it all goes well. But it's a pretty severe thunderstorm warning. So, okay, let's get back to where we were.
I wanted to just to speak to what was enacted with Senate Enrolled Act number 2, and it did put a requirement of being employed for adult age, able-bodied. That was the definition of adults receiving Medicaid. The issue with that is, as we heard from the question, Georgia has something similar, and what we know in the state of Indiana, over 80% of individuals, adults, able-bodied, who already are receiving the HIP expansion, were already working, are already employed. And so this employment, they tried to make it reasonable. For example, they wanted to make sure that Medicaid was accessible, but wanted to put an employment requirement on being able to access Medicaid. Okay, but the amount of time it's going to take to administer the program when over 80% of these individuals are already working, they're going to have to track volunteer hours. They're going to have to prove their eligibility on a regular basis. They're going to have to upload those hours. That, in and of itself, is going to create what's called churn, which is that administrative, bureaucratic cost to employing the Medicaid program. So that is the struggle, is making sure that we will lose individuals who absolutely need Medicaid. We will lose them because of all of the administrative hurdles that they're going to have to go through. And the reapplication process will drop people from the rolls. And that's how, they're going to, hopefully, that's what they're thinking, constantly having to prove your eligibility, people will drop off of the rolls and no longer be eligible. Not because they're not eligible, but because they missed something. They missed that letter. They missed that application. And all of this will create the savings that they're looking for. But what's going to be the biggest cost is going to be the increasing cost of healthcare in Indiana, which is already high because people will wait. People won't have access to healthcare, and then they'll go to the emergency room and receive much, much higher cost in their healthcare delivery, and then we will all have to pay for those costs in our healthcare expenses. We were here before 2008 when Obamacare rolled out, and we will be right back there once again. So that's a little bit about the struggles of Medicaid and the creating this employment requirement to be eligible.
Want to add to that?
No,
Karen?
no.
Let's segue to a similar situation. What support systems are in place to assist individuals who may lose SNAP benefits? And what alternative strategies are being considered to address budget shortfalls without compromising essential services?
You're out of luck. Seriously. And I hate to say that, but I truly believe things are going to get worse before they get better. So let me talk a little bit, it just takes this moment to talk a little bit about the state budget. And I want to talk about 3 different things that are really going to affect our state. So the first thing is, when we create a state budget, I was on that budget committee for about a decade. In December, if you do it for your house, you kind of know what your income's going to be, so you can figure out what you're going to expend over the year. We do the same thing in the state. We don't just start from scratch. We look at last year's budget. We have nerdy forecasters who tell us, well, we think the growth will be, 1%, 2%, whatever. And they do that. They give us a budget forecast in December. Then the legislature spends the next 4 months fighting about how the money should be divided up. And then again in April, just before the budget passes, we get let's check it one more. We did that this year. In December, the growth factor was somewhere in the area of 4%. That meant you add 4%. Sounds good. By April, that's 3 months into his reign of terror and chaos, the market was down. The 401ks are now 201ks, and that's not funny. This is going on across the country with revenue forecasts. Nobody can figure it out. So the revenue forecast went from 4 up to about 1. That difference left about a $2.5 billion shortfall in the budget, which then the legislature had to fix in that last couple of weeks, 10 days. Now, the second thing, and so they cut a bunch of stuff. We'll talk about what things and what their priorities are. But the second thing that is happening is that the federal government is now in the process of chopping federal block grant money. And you see it, there are so many parts of the state budget that are based on federal block grants. Libraries are like 30% federal money. You probably didn't know that, but that's going on the chopping block. NPR, all kinds of things everywhere. Those cuts were never even figured into the state budget because they didn't know what they were going to be. And so that number, whatever it is, and we can expect that it's going to be billions, hasn't even hit us yet. And then the third thing, the third chaotic thing that's going on is the mess that they made with the property taxes, which, all right, we're going to have property tax. It's that shade with the property taxes, which, all right, we're going to have property tax. It's that shell game. Do this. We're going to have property tax cuts over here. And I love the way Republicans can spin anything. They actually said, we're going to give locals the opportunity to raise taxes so that the cuts that we made over here, you can use to pay for your police and fire and local services. So, yeah, I mean,
They have few lobbyists.
that's another thing. So I truly believe that's another thing. So I truly believe that things are going to get worse before they get better. And that all of you here tonight, um, by this time 6 months from now, I expect to see twice as many people at these town. People will be angry. People will be angry. So
If it's unstable, have we reached out to local farmers and tried to fill in the gaps that the government is not?
what I call sort of parallel organizations, you know, they're separate, indivisible. There's, you know, church organizations. They're all working parallel, but they're all going to the same goal. And I think that what we're going to see is a lot of the not-for-profits and other groups trying to step in different places.
NGOs will.
Yeah. Yes.
Just before we go, this gentleman, we've blown over his questions. He talked about Trump and how we address this. We cannot skip over this. It's great. We got into the minutia of different things that happened. We had an academic exercise just now. How do we address Trump and his corrupt regime and all of his minions? We got to call out bullshit every time they say something. And we can't be passive about it. So what is leadership doing about that? Every time something like this happens, it should be screamed from the mountaintop that this is what it is. And we're sort of dancing around that. That's the big issue. How do we deal with them and expose them?
Well, let me answer one thing. We've got two guys in here right now, state party employees, Evan and Sam. Every day, they are responding to some new piece of crap that's happening. Every day, they are writing pieces, they are doing press releases, they are putting out information to county chairs. Now, we can't reach state party from the state party office. We can't reach everybody, but we are pushing out that information. So your county chair should be pushing it out to locals. They should be pushing it out to your local papers. You know, again, this is a chain reaction mobilization that we need to do. We're trying. Like I said, we've got two guys doing this full time every day. So we are screaming.
And we all need to be visible.
Yes.
I get that.
Yeah.
And I hear that's how you really can turn this kind of thing around. The only way to stop an authoritarian regime is to be present.
Well, what's also complicating it is that there's so much less press than there used to be. We've had several town halls where we've had zero press turnout. They might pre-promote it, but they've got nobody to go cover it. This is the first night. This is that was my next message. I wanted to thank the two media outlets or more that are here tonight, as well as our broadcaster. Thank you for doing that. But we're struggling to just compete against all the noise. If you do watch Fox News occasionally, I can tell, and I know it's sickening, but let me just say from someone who's a media, I'm an ex-radio broadcaster and owner, what they do on a daily basis, they seem to pick out 1 to 3 issues that make the Democratic Party or Joe Biden look really bad, and they just keep it up 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You can't go an hour in their news block without them hurting us with some kind of baloney. Well, they've done 10 things that's going to hurt people. It's just amazing the volume of things that are going on while they throw all this BS at us. And yeah, we're frustrated. If you have the answer to how we solve it, I think the DNC wants you in Washington, D.C. right now, because we're all trying to figure it out. Hold on, everybody's talking at once. Hold on.
See, this is what we're trying to avoid. Everybody's
Okay, let's try. We'll give everybody a chance, but I'll go to you real quick. Oh, go ahead.
The Democratic volume needs to be turned up, in my opinion.
Right.
We are playing nice. There's nothing nice in this right now. Nothing. You sit and you look at the insanity, and I understand we have zero majority right now, but people like Cory Booker, Chris Murphy, AOC, Jasmine Crockett. They are examples of how I think every state's Democratic Party needs to take a look and step up.
But you understand, we can't get on national news by Karen Tallian's the state Democratic Party chair.
You know what? I want to address that.
Record and go live.
I actually want to address this.
Yeah, please.
Have you shown up for
Yes.
no? Have you shown up for concerned clergy? Have you spoken out, written a letter,
Yes.
demanded that the governor denounce Michael Beckwith? Where have you been? I've been at every single press conference. We just had one on Thursday. We had another one. I know that Trump, I hear you, but we need to do that and this. And if you are running for an office, if you are serving in an office, if you are a precinct committee person and you are organizing every single day, thank you. If you are not, ask yourself, what more can I do? Because let me tell you, yes, it's happening at the federal level. It's happening right here too. So we absolutely have to respond. But it can't just be what are you doing? It's what am I doing today to make sure that I am invoking change? And let me tell you, it is going to take all of us. Thank you for your question. Thank you for your question. Thank you.
I think the biggest message we can send is to elect a bunch of people in 2026.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what we're talking about.
That's right.
You know, we can stand up and yell all we want, but real change is gonna come when we elect Democrats in 2026. And that's why I'm talking about local, you know, get the minority, get people. We gotta start locally. Who is it? Tip O'Neill said all politics is local.
Yeah.
And we gotta get out there and register voters. We gotta get more people involved. We need a sense of urgency. I agree with that. I don't know about the volume, but I just don't think we have a sense of urgency we need at the local level. Okay, I'm not talking about you guys.
And by the way, you mentioned all politics are local. That's been what we've always thought until the last 2 or 3 cycles where all politics have become national.
The amount of money spent from outside of states on local things is just crazy.
It's unbelievable.
That's just
And
crazy.
again, it's constant disinformation, misinformation, to where a person thinks that you wouldn't even want to have dinner with these Democrats. They look so freakish when I watch Fox News or Newsmax or OAN. This is the kind of stuff we're constantly battling. Go ahead.
Get with me afterwards. There are plans to be protesting in front of local news stations. Because you're right, this needs to be on with WTHR, all the things. But we also need to be having these conversations with people we don't want to have these conversations with. Peer-to-peer conversations and making sure your neighbors and your friends are registered to vote and know that there's some really big elections coming up next year too. But anyone who's interested in being louder and more annoying, I am your woman. Please see me afterwards. I'll hook you up.
What's your name?
Blythe Potter.
Thanks, Blythe.
I think a lot of people, especially like we don't see, are there any black people here at all? They're afraid. He's made them fearful. That's how he deals with people, is making them fearful. Oh, we're gonna deport American citizens. Yeah, and I think that a lot of people are afraid to say anything. They're afraid of the repercussions, and that's how it works. I think we have to walk past that.
That's what authoritarians do, absolutely. Back over here. Okay? Yes. Stand up if you would.
Okay, hi, my name's Chris. So psychologically, if you think about it, he is a narcissistic sociopath.
He
Like,
is.
everything that he does is for himself. We all need to stop putting time and effort. He is a narcissistic sociopath.
He
Like,
is.
everything that he does is for himself. We all need to stop putting time and effort into anything that's ridiculous, right? Everything he does is for himself to make him feel better and bigger and more important than the next guy, right? But when, I don't know who said it, but we absolutely have to call it out. We can't just sit there and go, well, and bigger and more important than the next guy, right? But when, I don't know who said it, but we absolutely have to call it out. We can't just sit there and go, well, like, no, you're absolutely lying right now. Here's the proof. I don't make them answer it when they're in the Senate hearing, but you can
follow the Constitution.
No, and then nothing happens. To me, it's more about mindset, the way that we shift it to something else where, no, we're not
like
allowing you to do it. But we also have to come at it a little bit more grown up. We can't have like this goofy, a funny picture here and a funny picture there. Just talk about the actual issue, not what he looks like, not what any of them look like, because who cares, right? I don't care what he looks like, I care that he's like ruining the actual issue, not what he looks like, not what any of them look like, because who cares, right? I don't care what he looks like, I care that he's like ruining the United States and kind of the world. So, I don't know, I guess it's more just, I care that he's like ruining the United States and kind of the world. So, I don't know, I guess it's more just, that's my mindset, but I do work with several organizations and we will win. I don't care what it takes. It's gonna happen.
I'm Amy Carpenter, and to be honest, I'm an extra. Democrats, because like these people said, the hell are we doing? Should be rawing all the freaking time, and I haven't heard shit from.
And I will.
Wait a minute. I see posts all the time from other Democratic people on Facebook, on TikTok, on Insta, on the socials, where those people are that we need to get to. And you're not there.
All right, if you're gonna call me back, call me out, I'm gonna respond.
And you're not there.
All right, if you're gonna call me back, call me out, I'm gonna respond. In the chair, 2 months. We're on the telephone, calling 92 county chairs,
Okay.
calling district chairs, calling donors. This organization does not run on money from the heaven.
So you're saying it's not your job?
No,
she said she hasn't gotten to it
yet.
I get to ask my question.
You asked your question.
No, I haven't.
Oh, really?
I was making a statement.
What's your question?
I haven't gotten to my question.
All right, then go.
Okay, so I'm not pleased with the Democrats either.
Yeah.
But I am willing, I've been to protests. I call the 5 calls every friggin' day. I've written letters to Beckwith. I'm the one that left the Beckwith town hall after Holly is an asshole. All right? So I get that you guys need us, but you gotta step up. I am tired of this. Every time we say something, it's, well, you guys need to be a precinct chair. Okay, people are stepping up to be the precinct chair. When do we get to see you, the Democratic Party, step up?
We are. All right, so can I answer?
I got.
Is that your question? Can I answer that now?
You can. Thank you.
Right. So, as I have been explaining what I've been doing for the last 2 months, I will also tell you that we brought a new political director on board. Alan Robbins standing back there. Sam Barloga is our communications person. They, as I said, have been putting out information, press statements, information statements. Sam does Kernel of Truth every week. We have been responding. I have been on television. I have
But
been.
you're saying the same things to everybody. I want you to make I want her to bring some positive, some yay, some the Democrats can do this. Isn't that what you guys want? I feel like you're saying the same thing. You said, well, you know, I was a champion for marijuana, so I should be okay with this.
Hey,
We need more than that.
You're such a real person.
Okay, here's what we need to consider though. Here's what we need to consider though. How do you convince your friends and neighbors in this city and in this county to realize what should be obvious to anybody they live next to. When the President of the United States travels around the world, not only does he get contributions of billions to some kind of coin and cryptocurrency, they want to give him a $400 million plane. And not only to his followers, but the people who run the Congress are silent as can be. The Speaker said he's got to look into that.
I get that.
I mean, there's only so much Karen Tallian and this whole panel can do when the people in office aren't even like stopping it when they violate their oath of office.
We need to appreciate.
I feel like we
What
all
are you doing now to stop and fight this?
And by the way, I'm sorry, I'm sounding like my dad. He was a little elevated at union meeting.
Me too.
But I'm trying to get everybody to understand my point. When people have lost their damn common sense, it's hard to get them to act like they should have some common sense.
Right. And I really would hope that you didn't all come out here on Friday night to have a circular firing squad.
Right.
Okay? We need to get past that in our party. We need to all get in the same boat and start rowing together. So,
We do need elected Democrats at every level. We put those people in positions of reason. We need them at every level to be loud and visible on every one of these things that happen. And there are not very many of them.
That's because we don't have it. So, the
we don't
ones
have
that are
enough.
actually out there are meetings. I was in the legislature when we had a majority.
Even if it's that.
Well, we have 2 congressmen in this whole state, they've got 7, so that's part of our challenge too, and they've got 2 senators, one real quick, was it, 2 in the back.
Really, this is like if you're upset, like not being able to hear people, I really want to encourage you to look into the voice line. You dropped it now. Look into Mad Voters.
Yep.
Follow Blythe on TikTok. She goes live at least once a week. It's incredible.
I just started following.
It's on us, guys. Like really.
Well, and then here's the other problem that we're dealing with, and it all gets down to the organization. We rank dead last in voter participation. This is the number one.
Republicans, they also rank last in voter participation. And they're winning.
The state as a whole.
Okay?
So I had a
So,
question
that
about
negates
that.
that problem.
We know that, as I was talking about SAN, the voter access, we know that in 2024, we had about 340,000 lean Democrat voters who stayed home. They stayed home. We have been spending a lot of time reading about why do people stay home. And the bottom line is, it's not because there aren't enough voters. It's because people know it matters. They don't like a candidate. They just believe that candidate. They just believe. Between vote for this guy and this thing happened. We don't see. That's the message I think we need to get out there with now. You got this person won by 7 votes. And these things happened because of that. And they need to see that. People need to see that.
Johnson County voted for Obama.
Well, everybody.
That's a Democrat. Works the county election systems. I can tell you Indiana is one of only 5 in this country that still allows straight tickets. And there's a reason for that. We need to get them out of there. The elder generation, I can assure you, are the ones that are voting straight party.
it's to our advantage that younger people are coming on board and they're gonna outnumber the old people. I hate to say we're all gonna die someday. Thank God. So the number of straight party tickets, I think, are gonna go down, but that has been our problem in this state for a straight party vote.
Vigo County is in my district, and this last election against outstanding Democratic office holders, and they got beat because 51% of the county pulled a straight Republican ballot, including a local coroner who's an actual surgeon. She was beat by a guy who mows yards for a profession. He's not a coroner.
We also had voter purge last year.
My question is this, like, I feel like we're missing a big component. We look around, we're all kind of the same age range. I'm not leaning into the minority. I think we need to do care a little more of that, but what are we doing? Like, I was inspired to vote, my first vote, from the Rock the Vote campaign. What are we doing to reach that younger generation that we are missing?
Mm-hmm.
They all feel strongly, but they are not motivated, and we have nothing for them right now. And we've got TikTok, which a lot of them are seeing, but we're not activating them with that. What can you do and what can we do to fix that gap? Because there's a huge gap, and we don't have the MTV Rock the Vote. We don't have those things that got people out before. We don't have that now, so we are missing so many. I know so many of the younger, that generation is going to end up saving us. So many of those people, if we can just get them involved. And how do we do that? And what do you guys do to do that? What can we together do? Like, I don't think it's anyone.
Is that a rhetorical question?
No, that's a serious. That's a what
strategy?
Like, what strategy do you have?
Where we're gonna get
like the vote campaign didn't create itself. It was created by.
I got a lot, I'm hearing a lot of voices, and I'm hearing your question.
people did come out and vote for when Biden was running.
Hearing your question.
People did come out and vote for when Biden was running. Because the last time, not so much. So the younger will determine whether the young people will come out or not.
But we've got.
Well, the Republicans have Charlie Kirk, who's going to college campuses.
Yes.
The Republicans had Joe Rogan. They didn't do grassroots. They had podcasters. They reached those young people by going to college campuses, and they're still doing it. I mean, we're missing those young college, and I agree with you. That's it. What are we doing in college? And I agree with you. That's it. What are we doing? The party as a whole is missing the boat.
By the way, I want to say one
Just
point
missing the
though.
boat when it comes to the
If
young
you
people.
poll people that were considered regular consumers of daily news and they kept up with what was going on in the daily news cycle, Harris won the election.
Yeah.
I want to give a shout out because I know there's been and where's the hope? What you can do is reach out, and I know you're not going to like this, what I'm going to say, it probably isn't. Our college Democrats are incredible. And what they need is to be lifted up and supported.
Yeah.
They are doing incredible work every single election cycle. Show up for them. Help them do their good work. They are excited. Engage them. Donate to them. But we have a college Democrat powerhouse in this state. We have individual clubs at every single university and college. And we have an overall college Democrats of Indiana. Get involved. You don't have to be in college. You can support them. You can support them on a monthly basis. Even if it's $5, it's something. But they have weekly. Can you imagine going to a weekly meeting? Weekly meetings on campus. They organize. They mobilize. They are out there doing amazing work. Support them.
Or the young Democrats.
That's the next thing. I want to ask this.
Oh, yeah, so you mentioned that there was an event the other day, and did you show up?
Where did you post about that? I do actively look for opportunities to show up. I know there's quite a few of us in this room that I've seen post places. Where are you posting that? Where can I find that?
Well, on the campaign, making our own social media profiles. What would be
First of all,
helpful?
we don't control them all. There's some
Where
that are
would
good
you
on
like it to be
Yeah.
posted?
Mobilize.
Mobilize.
Do you have a website? Is there an Indiana Democrat website? I haven't seen
Of course
it.
it does.
Yes.
The event can answer some of those people
There's no general website that like gives you actions. I mean, mobilize, yes, I know people have said that. So is that something?
So the other day's event was a press event held in Indianapolis. It was put together by the concerned clergy. They invited us, both were there. It was not our event. It was an event organized by somebody else. I don't know every place that they.
Oh, absolutely. I'm just saying, in the future, let's think about that, right?
We are trying to do that.
If you go to organizeindiana.org, it's a resource hub. Organizeindiana.org has all the different organizations.
It's still wonderful, but I feel like Indian Democrats should also, Marion County
Yes.
sends out a weekly saying, hey, here's our stuff.
Do that, don't you?
Yeah, we send stuff out, Sam, how many times a week?
Well, we send out one email, we send out at least 3 emails a week, but Mobilize sends out an automatic one as well to our people. And then we also have the Mobilize events in our Kernel of Truth newsletter, which goes out weekly.
So what we're saying is use
people.
Mobilize.
Yeah.
The one thing to use is Mobilize, and it will send it out. That's how I get mine. I got my indents from there. Everybody will get it. So, I mean.
This event was on Mobilize.
Yeah. Also, please go to Hoosier, make sure I get this right. Hoosier Human Rights Initiative. They just started because there are people that are really trying to make sure that you know where to go. And so there's a newsletter, not newsletter, I don't know, like a monthly kind of thing. It mostly has, they'll have like training in there. There'll be like mutual aid, as we mentioned, stuff about like food banks and different things. And they post for the state. So, and it'll have a link to the 5051 calendar, which includes some indivisible stuff, and includes a bunch of, but there are other organizations doing that too. It's not just that one. But you can go see the current flyer. If you go to HHRI,
Hoosier Human Rights Initiative. It's on Discord.
And also, and there's another one where it's the same information, but it'll scroll the way for you to filter, and that's on something Indiana Resistance. INRA.
To get people registered to vote. I know they're involved with the college Democrats, but they can always use help. So madvoters.org, I think, .org.
Real quick, we've got to. There's so many areas. We've got to respect the different niches. There's those that may be out there yelling, from the tops of their lungs. I'm going to go to the state house and protest. I don't know why. I just don't want to do that. But I will go to the businesses and whatever. I want to concentrate on getting the voter base into getting people out to vote, registering voters, that kind of stuff. That's what I want to do. Other people probably need to be out there yelling from the rooftops, whatever. But we need to respect that, there's a lot of things to do in each of our roles, maybe a little bit different, but we need to, lift each other up and respect that we're not all doing the same thing.
We're trying.
Yeah.
What do you got?
So, talking about reaching out to the younger generation, as a 51-year-old lesbian who runs a nonprofit organization, I'm not the one to tell you how to reach the young people, but part of our issue is we need younger people to work the different social media.
Yes.
We're the Facebook group, okay?
Yes.
A little bit of TikTok, but we need someone younger to run our Instagram, because that's where the kids are. So to reach the younger generation, we need people in the state level who are age appropriate, who know how to get word out to people. I want to talk about voter suppression and our voter turnout. So my Senate district is this much in Johnson County and this much in Marion County. We started our voting here in Johnson County a week before in person, not just the courthouse, but the satellite units. Okay, our hours were 2 hours longer than in Marion County, so they were 1 week less time, 2 hours shorter time. And the people who stood in line, because I spent 100 hours standing at the polls, thank you for coming out to vote, they were all old white people, okay? That's who can stand in line for 3 hours. They were complaining to me, how come I have to wait 3 hours and I can go to Johnson County and vote in 15 minutes?
They can do an absentee ballot.
I know, but try telling me this.
They're gonna pull their own ballot.
And that's what we need to get the word out. As a party, as a state organization, yes, standing in line for 3 hours is not possible, but hey, here's the link. This is how you do early voting. So it's basically get the information. Hey, your SNAP benefits got cut. This is who voted for it. Notice that R behind it?
Mhm.
That's the information we need to get out to that Midland, sometimes Republicans, sometimes
That's
not
right.
vote, sometimes Democratic voters. We need to let them know your non-vote, your R vote got SNAP benefits cut, got Medicare cut, got property taxes. Oh, you saved $300 there, but you're paying an extra $500 in your local tax. That information, we need to figure out how to get it out to the people who are going to vote next year. But I agree, PCs, we're working on a campaign here in Johnson County. We're trying to do all these things, and we have an amazing group who have come out and protested, and have gone to the State House, have gone to the courthouse, have gone to right here at the corner in Old Town Greenwood. We're out there weekly trying to be visible to let Democrats in this town know you're not alone. We get fist bumps and thumbs ups and a few birds flying at us, but it's been encouraging to see how many people want to get involved.
Thank you for all you're doing and everyone else too. In fairness to those who did take time to fill out the questions, let me get back to this and then we'll try to have some time at the end if there's any more questions. But here's one that comes up that I think we ought to tackle just briefly again, because we sort of touched on it, but what strategies is the Indiana Democratic Party using to rebuild trust and engagement in conservative leaning districts? How do we get the Frank O'Bannon type voters and the Evan Bayh type voters, I guess, to maybe support us again? Who wants to tackle that?
Well, let me talk about that a little bit. And it's kind of a question. I've been asked similar versions of the same question. What do you think is more effective? The AOC and Bernie people or the Senator Schumer people? And I said, yes. Yes. No, wait. Well, you're not gonna, let me finish. Let me finish. I said, the answer yes is because we need both. We need to have both. And I have known this, I've been around a while. I watched the civil rights movement. I watched the protests for the war in Vietnam and how are we going to stop that? And always there's the people on the front line screaming the loudest, the Bernies, the Abby Hoffmans, whoever is out there on the front line. And you need those people. But you also need you need the conductor in the caboose bringing up the rest of them. Because, wait a minute, we lost the election last time, I think, because we had a bunch of people out here, but we didn't have the middle. And now it's time to get that middle to catch up to the rest of the train. That's the people that we've lost. That's a lot of organized labor who used to be Democrats. We need to bring those people back. So yes, we need to bring those people back. So yes, the Bernie, and we need them, but we also need the Chuck Schumers of the world to bring up the rest of the, to bring up the rest of the crowd.
A wider perspective, look at it from this standpoint. There's probably 40% of people that are going to vote Democrat. There's nothing you can do to stop them. 40% that are going to vote Republican. Where's that 20% that sometimes they'll vote for Trump and then they voted for Obama? Doesn't make much sense to me. But statistically, there's a lot of people that did just that. There's a lot of people that did just that. We've got to get them motivated to vote. And I think we're at a situation in next year, if we get our from state party on down to local, people are wanting to change, but we got to get not only people registered, you got to get people on the ballot. I'm hoping that if we get our act together between now and next fall, 2026 could look a lot like 1974. And that was from the Watergate mess. And we not only gained a ton of seats in the General Assembly, but we took back Congress and Senate. That's the kind of situation that these meetings and what we're doing between now and the year and a half is what we're trying to where we could see some victories next year if we've got candidates and if we've got motivated people on the ground. So
that's things about elections are all well and good, but Trump's going to do a lot of damage between now and then. The question is, what do we do now to mitigate his damage? Now.
It's the billion question. I mean, the guy is just doing damage right and left. Normally, you'd have a Congress that the ones actually, it's the billion question. I mean, the guy is just doing damage right and left. Normally, you'd have a Congress that the ones actually step up.
Yeah.
But George showed some life today, by the way.
So I want to last. You know, people come out to a meeting and the bottom line question is, what can we do now? And like I said, I usually save this to the last, but here's my 3 points. Number one, you're all angry, you're all mad. Direct your anger. Direct your anger to all those activities, the mobilize activities. Go out, complain, write your letters. Like I said, when you get, some people mobilized is one thing, but when you get millions of people across the entire country mobilized, that's when they hear you. The second thing is, as Shelley said before, get involved. Be a precinct committee person, help us we're going to do a major voter registration drive this summer. Help with that. Help with, with whatever your county chairman need. Run for office. And number 3, what can I finish my little spiel? This is my spiel. So my number 3, and I'm calling this the Spring Pledge Drive. NPR worked on this for 50 years. We need money to do this. We need money to pay Sam, to pay Evan, to pay Dana, to run the organization, to do polling, to do our voter registration efforts. It costs us somewhere in the area, I have to raise $70,000 a month to keep the Democrat Party doors open and moving. And
she needs twice that, though.
Yeah, I need twice that. That's the bottom line. So put your money out there.
I'm glad you raised that point. Who's going to pay for the candidates to have access to mobilize? Because last cycle they were cut off because they couldn't afford it.
It's only a couple $100 bucks, but
provide any resources for mobilize.
The who didn't?
The party didn't provide any resources for mobilize.
So they only gave money to the ones that they knew could win.
But that's, well,
is what the statement was.
It's
Well,
great for everybody to go to mobilize, but if the candidates themselves don't have access to mobilize, to put their events in and to put all their recruiting, they're literally cut off from the tools that you guys should be providing.
And I am working my ass off to raise money. I mean, I raised $70,000 this week.
Yeah.
But that's just this week. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that next week. I had a good week.
Yeah.
But it takes money, and when you say, oh, send us money for Mobilize. I don't know if I've got it. So, every time every decision that we make is based on, have we raised enough money?
Or access network, right?
Well, Mobilize.
Mobilize.
Oh.
Mobilize is relatively inexpensive and
What actually works is maybe negotiating with Mobilize. So using the power of the state to leverage so that we can come in and maybe get a better deal on certain things and figure out, like being strategic on how we use certain tools.
I think that we already do some of that. Yeah.
If we go back to the question that you were given, you said, okay, 40% Democrat, 40% Republican, 20% in the middle.
Yeah.
And all I'm hearing is the way we're going to get the majority of that 20% is to just run away from Republicans. What are you doing to encourage people to run towards the Democrats?
That's got to be our new message. That's what we're working. That's what we're working on right now. That's why I'm doing town halls from Evansville to Fort Wayne. I want to hear what it is that you all want to hear. That's what's going to bring people back. We are supposed to be listening to you tell us what our message is supposed to be. That's why we're doing this.
That message is simple: LGBTQ equality, diversity, equal.
That's not the message everywhere. That's not the message everywhere. But there are places where they want to hear about social.
Working for us, it's working, just as you said, to raise funds. All right, I know it costs money to do this, but the real message is the reason nobody's showing up is because nobody trusts you. Everything's about money, and we understand it takes money to run, but nobody trusts either party. I hear over, and I am with people all day, every day, on all sides, and most people step away because nobody trusts you. They don't hear you, they don't believe what you're saying, and the past 20 years, everything's been given over to the corporate dollars. That's how we got Trump. That's how all of this is happening. So until we find out a way and a plan to get corporate money out of the government, I don't care if we have to go, shake our tits. I mean, seriously. I will shake my tits for freedom.
You make a bumper sticker about that.
You can't talk to the cops because the cops don't look at us because they don't see us as one employing them. They see the billionaires and millionaires employing them. Everybody that lobbies, all of that, that is the problem. The message, it doesn't matter. That is why nobody shows up. That is why the colored communities are having their own thing. All right? They are safe or not here because of the corporation. Because nobody's standing up. They're using that as cotton fire for what's really going on, and it's all about money. All right, all of it boils down to money, and that's what people want to see is a plan in place, even just locally, to take out the corporate investment.
You realize that the Supreme Court, with Citizens United, had already determined that corporations can be involved in our. So unless you get the Supreme Court to change it, that's what we're fighting. That's the problem.
Plan for that. That's what I'm saying. Put it out in front. Say, hey, I got a plan. This is what your problem is. This is how we are trying to put it forward all the time.
But Democrats do that all the time.
We try, but they don't always like our message. What do you have a question?
I think you're missing the mark, and I think I speak for some people here, that we are expecting at this point, at this critical point, for all of you to be AOCs, for all of you to be Crockett's. What you're thinking is we still need them. The right radicalized their movement by being loud, by not being quiet, and by not supporting them. I'm not saying you guys get arrested. We will bail you out. We will be there.
I'll get arrested with you.
We will be there. Turning it down turns half of that sound system off. When you're keeping who's seen the national parks?
Wait, what?
The national parks did something ridiculous with their social media. It was outlandish and crazy, but guess what? It reached a lot of people trying to say, what the hell are they doing? What is this about? We need to do something outrageous, outlandish, like the get out the vote only.
Are you saying Johnson
Way
County
more
did it right?
radicalized. We need to go for it. Yeah. We need to go
I'm
for
totally
it.
I think we hear you more than you think we do. The problem is the kind of activity and mobilization has to come down to what's going to make the biggest difference, and that's to get people to actually go out and vote.
So social media, and she just said she didn't get it, because she just said, with all due respect, you just said, we need the Schumers, we need them, and we need the Jasmine Crockett's. We don't think that's true. We want everybody to be crazy as they can, loud as they can, social media. Like, please tap into the social media.
Yeah, but it's more like change, right?
Lady in the back's got her hand up politely. I'll go ahead.
Okay, can I say something really quick?
Oh.
Not everybody.
I'll go back. You asked a question. Let me let her ask a quick question. Thank you.
Thank you. Sorry, actually, my friend over Dana. So taking in all this is the first time I've ever been in one of these. I've worked in a classroom for almost 10 years now.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, it's been hard. To get at some of the things that I think have been bouncing around and try to condense it. One, yes, what we do right now is organize, yes, but it's we get within our communities, we get into our neighborhood, we donate to places like the Julian Center, we volunteer our time and our money and our efforts to places local to us within our communities to build those up, because that's the way you survive genocide. And that's what's happening right now. Sorry. That's what's happening to my community. Yeah. I once heard someone say, whatever you have thought, this is what I would have done during the Holocaust, this is what you're doing right now. Because that's what it is. Yes, the reason why you had fewer young people turn out to vote is because they saw the wishy-washy kind of nature that the Biden administration, and then along with it Kamala Harris, who did not have enough time to distance herself from that administration. The reason why people did not turn out to vote is because they have been screaming at the top of their lungs, at the colleges, in their own organizations that they have developed, that the older generations are not tapping into because they have been screaming, free Gaza. They have been screaming, free Gaza. They have been screaming the atrocities that are occurring. They're not feeding them. They're not feeding them. They're not being heard by the people in power. It doesn't matter if the Republicans or the Democrats are in power in their mind, because nothing changes. Because as you said, the corporations, the billionaires, the millionaires, all of those people at the top are the ones who fund those big campaigns. And that's why it's so necessary to have the people who aren't trying to, I hate to say it, trying to reach across the aisle. Sorry, I don't want to work with people who are Nazis. I don't want to reach across the aisle. I don't want you in my party. And I think that's why so many people have distanced themselves from the Democratic Party, is because they are seeing people who are, well, we have to get these people into the party to vote so that we can win. What does that do? Nothing changes. The earth is literally dying.
That's not being addressed. Nothing changes education.
Yeah, that's gone.
I want to address that. I agree with
Well, unless
everything
you
you're
go to
saying.
Catholic school.
I'm a radical, okay? I'm a liberal radical. On the other hand, who is it that keeps saying, voting for, you don't have to agree with every single thing.
Right.
And that's what we need to tell the young people. They think that they have to agree with every single thing that a candidate says. And you can't do that.
It's too much for my
So,
there are certain things that I can disagree. Okay, sure. You know, maybe we can disagree on how much money should be spent in this particular area, or whether or not education or defense should be our greatest spending area. But I cannot put aside human rights.
okay, but who would have been? They didn't get out and vote for. They didn't get out and vote for Kamala, right? Who would have been better for human rights? Who would have been better for human rights? Kamala or Joe Biden?
Yeah.
Now, I don't even. I raised my voice too much. I apologize. I raised my
Well,
voice.
defend our
Who would
teacher
have
over
been
here.
better? Joe, and we need to tell them that. Okay, Kamala may not be.
Well, but that's the past now. But let her finish real quick. We got to wrap up here soon.
What do we do right now, besides organizing, besides donating to your community, besides reaching out to the people in the community who are marginalized and say, you can come to my house, I will hide you.
That's already.
I will.
Yep, that is here.
All right, against the people who are trying to make us say, go to your school board meeting. Reach out to the people who are in charge of the education in your community and make sure they understand how important media literacy is. Because we have the generation of iPad kids who are going to be telling you pretty soon, who have no idea what is real and what is not. It's terrible. I see what's happening right now, and I see and I because they are defunding the entire education system. I have no idea what's going to happen to special education. I wrote this on a party picture right now. What's going to happen to special education? I have no idea what's going to happen. Are going to feel accepted or taught in our schools, and I don't know how long public education is going to be. The next 4 years, 8 years, whatever, if the kids who are going to be voting have no idea how to determine if an AI video of someone is real or fake.
Thank you. Guys, we're running out of time. We've got to select questions we never asked. I know we're not going to get them all in today like we hoped, but we at least made it to 8 o'clock and we want to get ready to wrap up. Senator, I'm going to let you give some closing comments and give you all a chance to close before we wrap up. And Karen, you'll have the last word. Karen, you'll have the last word. What do you want to say before you wrap it up? If you want to help the district, he's the district here.
Yeah.
Josh King.
So the energy, if you, I don't care if you live in my district, Dave's, Congressman Carson's, the energy here tonight is what we need to win next year. So when you're having conversations and volunteering in organizations that run alongside us, use that as the time to also quietly work your way into getting people, maybe they're going to run. Maybe they're not interested in running as a candidate, but you see they'd be good at helping somebody run. You know, kind of the campaign manager type. That's what we need. So while you're out organizing, be kind of also the eyes and ears for us to find people to run. Once we can fill ballots, our odds of winning are even better.
And how can they get a hold of you?
Info at N6DIMS, or just the 6th District has a Facebook page. That's just easier. Just message me.
Okay. Thank you, Josh, for all you do. Senator?
Well, thank you. I appreciate very much hearing all of this. And I will just note, when the question was asked, what can we do? I saw 2 hands, one back here and one over here, but I don't remember who it was. I want to know, what do you want me to know? Tell me.
It's not particularly for you.
Oh.
Because you're paying attention. looking and listening, but there's all this national talk and local talk and Charlie Kirk. What do the Republicans have in Indiana? They have someone running for every single seat. Every seat. What do we have? Maybe we'll look for some candidates. But you know what? Previous candidates stand up.
Current candidates running.
Our Democratic leadership did not point out any of these people tonight. You know what you can do? You know what you can do to organize? You can support us. I'm Michael Potter and I'm running for House District 47. I don't know why they didn't say anything about that. God knows I was just with them 2 days ago. Why are you not pointing out the candidates you have in the room? You can support the people in the room in Johnson County by supporting them and literally not ignoring us.
We can do that. Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Michael. Okay, one more, and you're giving it to?
Yes.
Thank you. And then one other piece. Give me one thing that I can do.
Well, this is all that I was getting, more of a statement, and it was kind of piggybacking on it. Well, I'm a union person. I'm UAW. My sister and brothers say the union. I say you are the union. We are the Democrat Party. And we're not perfect. We're a big tent. But we have a lot of tools. We have PCs. We have VAN, which is our voter file, which is incredible if we use it. But we're not. And so we need our every county, every PC to learn it, to get access to it, to use it. You can put the simplest information, like, and I'm going to pick on you. Brenda Berry has political signs that aren't ours, or it's just the simplest thing. Or maybe they have a pride flag, or maybe she has a pride flag, or there's little things that we can put in the van that can indicate, and that's what.
That helps.
So I so agree. We need PCs. We need to use the tools we have, which is our voter file. And if we keep mobilized, we gotta use it.
And the only way you're going to be able to make those little notes is when you're willing to sign up and help a candidate, and go canvassing. So yes, and yes. Thank you. Thank you.
Karen, would you like to say anything else?
Do you have another question or what?
No, I'm just going to remind them they can come.
Oh, all right. I just want to say thank you. Thank you to everybody who came out tonight. Thank you for telling us what you think. What you think in this room is not necessarily the same thing that I'm hearing in every other corner of the state. But I stopped using tent, I'm using boat. We need a bigger boat. And we all need to be rowing in the same direction. It's great that we have different points of view, but we don't need a circular firing squad. We need to get it all together and start going in the same direction. And like I said, I'm here doing these town halls all across the state in order to hear what you all are telling us is what you want to know and what you want us to do. We're making plans. We are putting programs together. We are putting voter registration together. We are putting a lot of things together. Sir, I'm sorry if I didn't recognize you. I would have recognized you, but I don't know you.
For future meetings, maybe put a list, maybe invite the candidates up.
Right now.
Wait.
Let's do that right now. If you are running for office, right now, could you stand? We've got a podcast going right now.
Yep.
Just stand and look and do a little, why are you running? Who are you? Why are you?
Wait.
Okay, hold on.
Shelley.
Who are you? Why are you running? What you're running for? And what people can do to get involved.
Wait,
And try to make it 30 seconds. We're not gonna
Yeah.
Up here. Up here. This
Because
way.
what do you do?
You want to be here? You
People
want to be
for
here?
the same thing.
Oh, okay, here.
Well,
Stand by the microphone.
Hello, everyone. My name is Saad Tawfiq.
This is not
I announce this to you. I'm running for Pleasant Township Trustee. And why I'm running? Because I believe in equal opportunity and equal rights for all people.
How can people find you?
Well, they found me on Facebook, Instagram. You can find me in our party in Johnson County Democrats. And we have an office actually in Franklin. So you can come over and you just show us and show all the candidates. So we will fight. We will not stop.
Thank
we
you.
will stop. We will stop them. And we will work hard.
All right, Michael, come on up, Michael.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Michael Potter. I'm running for House District 47, which is the southern half of Johnson County and the western half of Shelby County. I'm an environmental scientist. It's my job for 25 years. Obviously, Indiana's last in environment in some polls, so that's important to me. But all these issues, social equality, finance, and I just want to fight for a better Indiana.
All right, thank
you can find me at Friends of Michael Potter on most non-MAGA social media.
And one
Who
more.
else is running?
One more.
Hi, everybody. I'm Michelle Higgs, and I'm running to represent House District 60, which is parts of Monroe, Morgan, and Johnson counties. Last year when I ran, I also founded the Indiana Rural Summit. We organized 12 House candidates across 30 counties. We're expanding into the northern region. You can find me at Michelle at voteformichellehiggs.com. And then also please check out the Indiana Rural Summit, of which Michael Potter is a member of that cohort. Thank you very much.
Who we miss?
She's the
Oh.
one.
Oh my God.
I'm very unprepared for this, but my name is Blythe Potter. I'm running for Secretary of State in 2026. Don't get too excited. You don't get to primary. It's a convention. So you have to be a fucking PC to vote for me next year. Or vice PC. But you can currently find me at blythepotter.com or who'syourBitchesGetStuffDone.org.
Thank you. All right, any other candidates? Any other office holders here in the community that we've overlooked? Okay, thank you very much.
Can somebody make a list of what we just heard? I don't know about you guys, but I've lost it already.
Well, you can come to Muncie tomorrow for our event, that's for sure.
It'll be on YouTube.
Yes.
I'll make sure that the chairs get it.
All right, let me remind everybody, it does make a difference when you reach out to your legislators. In our federal congressman, Representative Jefferson Shreve, we've got a QR code, or you can always pull up it on Google and find his website. Try an email, try a letter. Same with Senator Todd Young and Senator Jim Banks. So reach out to them, make phone calls, email, make a difference. You can always submit a letter to the Indianapolis Star or your local media. So there's a quick way to do that if you want to come get the QR code.